I'm Dr. Barnes. I work here in the math department. This is my first year working here. So luckily I haven't run into any embarrassing stories here, but while I was teaching at LSU, I did have a couple. One that I think stands out to me the most was during my very first week of classes. I was a teaching assistant, and it hit me, and I had to wake up at 8:30, and not only wake up at 8:30, but be in front of a class and be energetic about math and all this stuff. And so I get in there, and I'm still getting used to the schedule. The way LSU was set up was the classes would run for 50 minutes, but they would be listed for an hour, and they just had switched it back. So it was 9:30 was the start, and 10:20 was when you let people go. And so I'm getting to know the students, and I'm talking about the first day, and then most of that is just like going over the syllabus and making sure they're all comfortable with what's going to happen in the class. So I'm getting them acclimated, and I've got my watch on because I always teach with a watch because I never want to hold students over. So I'm checking my watch and looking at things, and I check it, and the class started at 8:30, and it was 8:55. And for some reason, multiple wires crossed in my brain. And what ended up happening was my brain screamed, "You have kept these students 5 minutes over. Class was supposed to end at 9, which means it's supposed to end at 8:50. And so I panicked because I let the students go. And they're like, "Oh, can't we just stay here if we have work to do?" Because they know that they have an extra 35 minutes in the class, and I don't. And I'm sitting up there just like, what am I going to do to rectify this situation? And I kick everybody out. And I walk back to my office, and I'm about halfway to my office when it hits me that the class let out at 9:20 instead of what I thought, which was 8:50. But that moment of dread when I looked at my watch first off, and then the moment when I left and was halfway to my office and it just hit me, I was just like, I want to crawl under a rock right now. I think that's probably the most embarrassing thing I can think of.
My name is Tara Summers, and I am a journalism major here at Spring Hill. The most embarrassing thing that I think has happened to me in school, it actually was not in the classroom. It was in front of 600 people in my school's theater. So I do musicals. I love plays and theater and all that jazz. And when I was in high school, I was in my first musical. It was Hairspray. And I was playing Penny Pingleton. And in the end, the very last dance number, she comes out and she's all dressed up. The dress in this scene was really crucial. So I've got my mic hooked up, and it's got a cord that goes down to my back where I have the little box. And I had to zip my dress over it. I didn't realize it at first, but my dress, the zipper broke, and so it would not zip. The only thing keeping that dress on my body were my hands, and they had to be held behind me so that I could hold the zipper together. And I went on stage the way I was supposed to, and yeah, I'm running out, and you gotta do this big elaborate, most elaborate dance number of the whole show. And I've gotta sing and dance, a lot of movement, a lot of arm movement, and I could not do the arm movement because I had to do the whole ending holding my dress together. So I looked like a chicken dancing around on stage. So I think the hardest part about it was the fact that this was our school performance. This is the one that all of the students went to. 600 kids packed into this room watching me dance like a chicken with a dress that's coming off. And so the whole time I was just so scared of what people were thinking. Did they know exactly? Could they tell? Could they just tell something was off? And I asked people afterwards, and some people said they noticed. Some people said they didn't notice at all. Had I let go at any point, the front of the dress, this tight little dress would have just, this child-friendly rendition of Hairspray would have turned rated R very quickly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy Swinder. I'm a professor in the English department. One of the most embarrassing moments in the classroom happened early on in my days here at Spring Hill College. When you're a new faculty member, you have a colleague come and watch you in the classroom and give you feedback on some of your techniques and what you do. It was my day to be observed, and I was very nervous. I had the perfect lesson plan, though. It was going to be great. I was teaching the novel Dracula, and to begin, I was going to show a few film clips from the old Bela Lugosi version in black and white to set up our discussion of how novels are translated into films in different ways as years go on. I needed to have the classroom really dark, though, because it was a black and white film, so I was fiddling with the blinds, and I couldn't get them down because I twisted the cord because I was really nervous. And so I just started yanking on it because, you know, yanking always helps. And one of my students was right underneath the blinds, and she said, "Dr. Swinder, don't pull the blinds down on me." And then I realized, okay, I just need to chill for a minute. So eventually I got the blinds taken care of, and I had my notes all laid out. I had the clips up on the computer. I was all ready to go. My observing professor had come in, and so I was getting ready to start the class, and I was reaching for one of my notes that I was going to use, and I knocked over my tea all over everything. My books, the DVD, the papers I was going to give back to my students. It was a mess, and my students who knew I was being observed were just horrified for me. And at that point, all you can do is laugh, because I had been so prepared, and it seemed like everything was going wrong. And so I did just laugh and roll my eyes, and everybody took it in good humor. It didn't get marked up on my evaluation or anything, but at moments like that, you just have to laugh at yourself, because usually when you embarrass yourself in the classroom, it is quite funny. And a lot of times the students are just waiting for permission to laugh, and then I laugh, and then we all have a good time.
My name is AJ Jones. I'm a senior. I'm a political science major. Oh, and the most embarrassing story I've had in class it's pretty embarrassing. So one day, it was a beautiful, beautiful, sunny day. My most embarrassing.
You can't make noises. This is gonna take 10 minutes.
So my most embarrassing story in class was, it was during my comparative foreign policy class, and it's usually a 4:30 class, so I'm kind of just tired by the end of the day. And my teacher said that they're going to try and get up the projector or whatever, and I was like, all right, cool. This is my chance to go look on my phone. And so, of course, like any college student would do, I pulled up iFunny. And the first slide was pretty funny, and then I swiped over and it was funny. But I didn't laugh out loud, I just got smiles. And my class is pretty small. We have 8 people total. And I didn't realize my volume was on, and I turned it down every time I go into class, just because. But the one time I didn't, this song started playing. It was Spooky Scary Skeletons. But it's the Mario edition, so it made it even more embarrassing, because, mind you, my volume's basically almost all the way up. And Vlad looks at me and goes, and I'm looking up at him trying to quietly turn it down because I have my phone in my right hand, so I'm trying to turn down the volume, but I couldn't get it. It wouldn't go down, so I ended up just basically dropping my phone on the floor after I clicked it to go to sleep. And all the people in my class start laughing at me, and they're all looking at me and then this one guy, he recognized it immediately. He goes, Spooky Scary Skeletons, good choice. I'm like, if I could blush, my face would be, all of it would be the reddest it could possibly be. And yeah, that was the most embarrassing time.